Welcome back, everybody, once again. It's Draskyl here today with another video. This one is a complicated subject, but we're going to do our best to tackle it in bits and pieces so that people can hopefully apply it to their game. It's all about counters. Now, counters is kind of a broad subject, so today we're going to just talk about the types of counters that exist within Dota, what they do, and what they don't do. So, I personally, and this is just my own preference, I'm sure other people have different classifications, I like to classify counters into 3 or 4 different categories. You have the traditional matchup counter, which just means that your hero walks to a lane and does extremely well against another hero. The second type of counter is what I would loosely refer to as a gameplay counter. Now, when we say gameplay counter, it means that your hero's skill set counteracts a skill set on the enemy team. So, for example, if I were to load up a Winter Wyvern, and I just go into the demo, 2 of the really strong abilities that Winter Wyvern currently has are Cold Embrace and Winter's Curse. So whenever you cast Cold Embrace on somebody, it's going to put them in a ice prison, more or less. And it makes the hero that you target with this immune to physical damage. So we would refer to this as a gameplay counter to very heavy physical damage heroes that are single target oriented. And some of those could be Troll Warlord, Wind Ranger, Ursa, all these types of heroes that have a very singular focused way of playing fights and how they approach heroes. Okay, great. Now we know what the gameplay counter is. There is a different gameplay counter that other people will refer to. Sometimes what they will really mean is that a hero will be a timing counter. So when we're talking about a timing counter, this is something that's more applicable to higher level games and pro matches. A timing counter is just, this hero is going to reach its peak in power much before you reach yours. So that means the hero is going to be strong and your hero is still going to be weak. Some of these cases are just very greedy safe lane heroes like your Spectres, your Faceless Voids and stuff. They have very long cooldowns. They require a lot of items. So if you're playing against a lineup that has heavy pressure and takes all your towers and removes map control, that is a timing counter because they're going to just end the game before your hero is ready to do that stuff. And then the fourth kind of counter that I'm not sure who else really would think about it this way, but I often do, is an itemization counter. So sometimes you're going to be playing a game and your team is not going to have good ways of dealing with a hero or a playstyle that the enemy team is employing. Common examples of this are deathballing or split pushing. Maybe a hero on the other team has a BKB and you guys don't have anything that goes through it. Itemization countering is simply building to fix a problem. So if you have a Puck on the other team and he has a Blink Dagger and a Yules and a Witchblade, the way that you item counter him is by buying a Hex, because nothing in his inventory is going to prevent him from getting hexed, but he does have ways to remove silences so he can use his phase shift to get away and blink out, right? So that's the 4 methods of countering that I will cover. Not all of them in this video, obviously. This is just like a very, very basic glossing over of what counter actually means and in what way are you actually being countered. So if I were to give more examples of just really simple stuff like lane counters, if I was playing Winter Wyvern right now and someone on the other team, let's just say he was playing Legion, right? This is a lane counter. Now, this is an interesting dynamic because in the lane, a Legion commander will counter Winter Wyvern because Arctic Burn is dispellable with Press the Attack, right? So whenever I use this skill and I put it on a Legion commander, if I have Press the Attack, I can remove the debuff and Arctic Burn does not get reapplied after the first application, right? So oftentimes you'll see a Winter Wyvern on the enemy team and you'll think to yourself, well, I can lane counter this guy by picking this hero. And then I skill Press the Attack and he can no longer cast Arctic Burn. But the timing of this counter actually changes over the course of the game. So when you get to the mid game and things like Cold Embrace and Winter's Curse come into play, all of a sudden this hero, the Winter Wyvern, goes from being countered to countering the other hero. Now this is only really impactful if you understand how the hero dynamics actually work and you understand where you have to stand. So if I was Legion, what would I do to circumvent this hero being able to just Cold Embrace or Curse whenever I throw out a duel? Then we would go to an item counter. So now we need to think about a way of removing this hero from the fight, the Winter Wyvern, if we're playing Legion Commander, so we can prevent this guy from casting the 2 abilities in his kit that kind of crush what I want to do, right? Because Legion is a single target hero that wants to go in, duel a guy, kill that guy, and then move on. So things that would itemization counter Winter Wyvern, obviously the go-to is Blink Dagger. So when you're buying Blink, you're closing the gap on the Wyvern fast enough to where you can duel the Wyvern, because if she is dueled, obviously cannot cast any of those spells and dies. Now this is only in the context of a team that has 1 save, and the save is Wyvern. But this is just a very basic example of a hero matchup that actually changes based on the timing of the game. And these things keep going back and forth. This is only 1 layer deep. Let's say the Winter Wyvern is having a really good game, and you buy Blink Dagger on Legion, but then the Winter Wyvern is having a really good game. So all of a sudden, this hero has an Aeon Disc. And then the matchup changes again. So there's certain timings within every single Dota game where your hero, based on its inventory and based on matchup, is going to have some level of advantage or disadvantage over the enemy team. And being able to utilize these timings and understand what truly makes your hero a counter to the other heroes is really important to success. And I know we're kind of getting a little bit sidetracked with just a general theme of counters, but I want to make multiple videos about this subject specifically, because I feel like at certain points in every game, people are walking around and they're unsure as to what to do. They're unsure because they don't know when a matchup is good for them and when it's bad for them. And my general advice when it comes to countering is that if you don't know how to play your counter, then it doesn't matter if you're countering the guy or not. Because a good counter is a guy who picks the hero with the understanding of exactly when he's powerful and uses that advantage. You get objectives, you take map control away, you do all these things. And then that way, the other hero doesn't get a chance to either item counter against you, or maybe some other heroes on his team actually counter you as well. So we're going to try to keep this video pretty short. This is just a introductory what counters actually do. We're going to make a bunch more in this series regarding specific situations and what you can do and how to approach different things. But thank you guys very much for tuning in. We'll likely be doing some more of this stuff very, very soon. So if you guys want to catch me live, you can catch me on twitch.tv/Draskyl, just the same as a YouTube. Hope you guys are having a nice one, and we'll see you soon.